Hi all, I'm Stephanie, together with Virtual Sheet Music. Today's video looks at the idea of learning an instrument together with the practice that this entails. As such, it was inspired by an episode from a UK TV series called Black Books, whereby one of the main protagonists, Manny by name, discovers that quite by chance and without any previous experience, he is a pianist, a musician, able to take on any style or musical challenge. It's as if his hands have a magical power independent of the rest of him. Now, I've put the link in the text section of this video below, indicating the specific section of the link to watch. Nonetheless, I'd personally see the whole episode as it's really funny. Now, who hasn't had this wonderful hope of learning a new instrument, or indeed learning anything, for the first time and discovering the genius within, an innate natural talent that inspires wonder or even just a tad of jealousy from the onlooker? After all, it looks so easy, doesn't it? Now that's where the humour of this episode really takes off. Forgotten are the hours of technical tedium, studies repetitive to the point of slumber or meditation, depending on your own perspective, psychological battles with yourself, your teacher, the piece itself, not forgetting the continually rising benchmark, the exams, the performances, and the multitude of challenges that all these things present. To jump from beginner to Beethoven boogie woogie in the flickering of an eye, as this episode demonstrates, is actually an expectation I've seen relatively often, especially from younger students, but not only. One of my ex-headmistresses, for example, was a case in point. She was quite unable to grasp the fact that instrumental activities without the support of individual home practice was an unsustainable exercise. I'm not joking, eh? You know, it looked easy and therefore was easy. You know, there was never any thought into the physicality of playing, movement, mastery, endurance, strength. These were quite unfathomable considerations for her, and also a strictly physical education stroke sport consideration. As we know, however, stamina and strength is absolutely essential for music. It's interesting, though, that for those on the outside, this factor seems to be almost overlooked entirely. I remember on another occasion talking to an adult beginner violinist who asked me if it ever actually got any easier. Now, the problem with a question like that, if you're a serious student, but also if you're a serious teacher, is that the answer by definition will be no. Your benchmark will be permanently moving, your expectations too, as your knowledge of the instrument and its repertoire continually expands. This, of course, is also determined by how much practice and effort you put in on a daily basis. Did I say the word daily? I'll say it again, daily. Now, this was not what the beginner violinist wanted to hear, and I was duly criticised. Now, in my opinion, this situation has worsened with society's instantaneousness, sapping us of any patience we once had, and making us prone to greater frustration when something goes wrong. We live in an age of everything at the push of a button. Practicing, finding strategies to overcome obstacles, plodding along despite setbacks, managing personal disappointment. This is the opposite of instantaneousness. Patience and indeed emotional resilience are probably actually more important to music than the practice itself. But unfortunately, we seem to be increasingly either unable or incapable, or maybe both, of absorbing and applying these concepts. They tend to come under this generic idea of soft skills. In the past, I lost many more than capable students just on the basis that other subjects were ultimately perceived as easier and less work. Resilience indeed. So, turning back to the genius Manny in the episode you've either just seen or are about to see. Well, he is none other than the actor Bill Bailey, a comedian, director, author. He does everything basically. And he often uses his classical music training in the work he carries out. The work, boy, has he done it. Though if I'm not mistaken, he does admit that he doesn't practice enough. So what are your thoughts on all this? Does a lack of realism hamper our best attempts in learning and growing with the music in our lives? Does impatience get in the way of real progress? Does the genius dream actually hinder our chances at enjoying the music we make rather than motivate? Whatever, drop me a line and get the discussion going. Bye.